Back in 2022, we got the sequel to the critically acclaimed God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok. And man, what can I say about this game that hasn't already been said about it? The story was amazing, the combat was great, especially with us gaining a new weapon in the form of the Dropnir Spear, one of my favorite weapon combos of all time. The ability to make things go boom with the spear that can multiply itself and go boom was like my dream weapon seeing it. But most importantly for me, where the characters and the arcs they go throughout the game is amazing. I could make this video a whole essay around the character arcs and recapping them, but I think I want to make separate videos mostly for Kratos because this man had great development throughout the whole God of War franchise just in general. It was so satisfying seeing from how he was in the original God of War series to the God of War Norse duology, but for now I think we'll just stick with a normal review, so let's dive right in. So the gameplay in God of War Ragnarok is relatively the same from God of War 2018 aside from one thing. Spartan Rage is no longer the same. They have changed how it works as opposed to the previous game where they have split it into three, technically four since Valhalla, but I will get into that later on. There's the regular Spartan Rage, or as they call it, Fury, where you're able to do your usual just like string of punches, but not as much as in God of War 2018. You know how were able to do those string of punches. They changed it, so now Kratos only does like one or two. Luckily, they still kept like the ground slam and the rock throw, which I'm happy about. And then we have the Valor version of Spartan Rage where you activate it and get your health back. But there's also a pseudo parry feature in there where if you activate it right before you get hit, you will gain more health back and stop an opponent's attack, which to me, it just sounds more like a Dark Souls fan's favorite move. Then there is Wrath, one of my least favorite versions of it, where you consume a large chunk of rage to do high single target damage, and if you manage to kill them, you will heal a small amount. Then finally, in the Valhalla DLC, by the way, before I get into this, there will be spoilers ahead, so if you skip a couple minutes, if you don't want to hear them, you get the coolest Spartan Rage in my opinion, which is labeled Legacy, where you're able to summon the Blade of Olympus and use it in your combos. Though for me, the only thing I hate, this really only applies to the Valhalla portion of the game, where in certain sections of the Valhalla map, it gets really dark when you use the Blade of Olympus. Even then, that only extends to Valhalla itself. And then once you complete the Valhalla DLC, you are allowed to bring the Legacy Spartan Rage, along with something else. I'm also keeping this section spoiler-free of what it is, but I will talk about what it is later in the review. You are able to take them into New Game Plus, and I think that's great. So you're able to, when you get to that part in the final section of the game where you get to Ragnarok, for instance, you're able to use the Blade of Olympus on Thor, or when you're fighting Nidhogg, you can use the Blade of Olympus, which I think is really cool. And there are also playable Atreus segments, so depending on who you are, you may or may not enjoy them. Me personally, I didn't enjoy them, mostly just from the fact that you are this big, you're Kratos, and then, oh yeah, you switch to Atreus, basically a kid who just smacks things with his magic bow. Even then, that might not be the best way to describe it. I just really didn't enjoy him all that much as I thought I would be. And his Spartan Rage, Atreus has, he turns into a wolf, which I think is a really cool payoff from God of War 2018, when Atreus first learns that he is half god, and he asks Kratos if he can turn into an animal, which Kratos at the time, not knowing Atreus can do it, just goes no. Also, spoilers, I'll be talking about what happens in the final segments of the game as well, so skip ahead. Atreus, throughout the game, it is shown he can transform into a bear, but though mostly he can't control it. But until Ragnarok, the final half of the game, you know, as labeled it is, Ragnarok, Atreus is finally able to control it, and you're able to play as the bear, though technically you only have from what I tried, only one attack, really, just the bear scratch, and I think a bite, but that's really it. And I just really didn't care about fighting as the bear altogether. In comparison from God of War 2018, where the only realms we could visit were Alfheim, Muspelheim, Helheim, Niflheim, and Midgard, we finally get access to Svartalheim, Vanaheim, and Asgard, and they all were just beautiful. I thought the realm designs were amazing. I could dedicate whole videos to each of these realms and everything in it, but I think we'll just rapid fire through the new ones. Svartalheim, the home realm of the dwarves, which at the beginning of the game is under siege by Odin, and we go there to free Tyr. You travel through the wetlands until you get to the village where the dwarves reside. I will definitely not try to pronounce the name. Please don't ask me to. You will not get me to put myself through that. Where we learn where Durlin, that on a paper he wrote to Atreus and Kratos under the guise of it being a fine, that Tyr was within the mines that Kratos and Atreus are forced to travel through to find Tyr. The world is amazing, seeing all the dwarven architecture and the things are way designed. You could realistically see them building it, and it genuinely stumped me a few of these puzzles. It made me think I was playing Are You Smarter Than a Dwarf, which I definitely was not. Next up on the new realm list is Vanaheim, home of Freya and the Vanir. By morning, it's a beautiful jungle where you can see all the different plant life and how the war with the Aesir and Freya's banishment has destroyed this realm. I mean, you see empty villages, destroyed architecture. It definitely looks like the Aesir just came in, tore through this place, and forced these people into hiding. Then when it gets to nighttime, in Vanaheim is where things get cool, quote unquote. Later in the game, when you retrieve the moon, yes, you quite literally are forced to save the moon from the Einherjar. You are given a scepter, which I believe that's what it was called, that allows you to change between day or night when you want. And when it's nighttime, the plants turn deadly. There is one that chucks poison at you, a blue plant that when you get too close, it quite literally detonates, inflicting you with poison. This is why I could never go camping, honestly. You're enjoying a nice stroll, and then all of a sudden, a plant pops like a balloon right at your feet. And then finally, we have Asgard, home of the Aesir, and it's all right looking when you visit it as Atreus when he runs away from home. But when you go there during Ragnarok, it looks amazing. The lighting, you see everyone coming in trying to breach the wall and get to Odin. But we're not going to go into any more spoilers other than that. But when you're playing as Atreus, you're forced to climb the wall. And I find it interesting when you're climbing the wall as Atreus, they show you how tired he is. Like eventually once you get high enough, he stops to give his hands a rest and even comments on how tiring it is. For me, it's those little things that help me get lost in like the fantasy that this world is trying to pull you into. The other realms didn't go through as much changes aside from Alfheim. They have expanded it and given us like a desert section of the realm where you free a few Hafgufa. I think that's how you pronounce it. Please don't make fun of me. Or do, I don't care. Where they, let's say they'll dance and they have kids. I'm trying to keep it PG here, guys, please. Then we also get to explore a different side of Niflheim, where, as before in God of War 2018, you went to Ivaldi's workshop. On this side, you're on a freezing portion of it, like it's just cold. And then there's a training arena where you can practice your combos and everything. And then there's also a tree where all the Odin ravens you have killed throughout the game go there. And then there's also chests for the certain amount of ravens you kill. And then after you kill all the ravens and open all the chests, you end up fighting the Raven Keepers, another good old boss. You get to watch Kratos tear their beak off. Their beak? Head? I don't know, same difference to me. Just another boss that Kratos gets to brutalize. I won't go much into the story of God of War Ragnarok, as I feel it's a lot, and I would do a disservice of trying to explain it to you all. But I think God of War Ragnarok storytelling is amazing. It's a great sequel to God of War 2018 and only adds on to Kratos' and Atreus' journey from the previous game. They are closer now, but still rough around the edges when it comes to certain things in their relationship, like how in Midgard, back at the beginning of the game, Atreus hasn't told Kratos that he's discovered the secrets within the giant shrines and the fact he's been sneaking out all throughout Midgard to find these shrines.
Why were you searching for Tyr?
If I told you I was looking for him, you would have said not to.
So you hid the truth from me.
I wanted to tell you. I really did, but now that you know, there's something you should see.
No.
Just trust me, you'll want to.
Trust! You have broken my trust.
Then let me regain it. Let me show you what I found. Besides, we haven't seen the last of Odin or Thor.
Shrines, Or when you head to Svartalheim with Atreus and Kratos and you find out Faye had led a rebellion, and Atreus asked Kratos, did he know anything of Faye's life before they met each other, and is only met with silence on Kratos' end.
I still can't believe Mom led a whole rebellion here against Odin and never talked about it.
The fact that it didn't go well might have covered that notion.
What your mother did before we met was her business.
Did you ever ask?
Eyes on the water. There are resources.
This shows that, sure, they're closer in terms of a familiar relationship, but they still rough around the edges when it comes to certain things. They also do a great job of capping off Freya's arc from the end of God of War 2018, where at the beginning of the game, she starts from hating Kratos for killing Baldur, but then once you free her from the curse Odin has placed on her, she understands that her problem's not with Kratos, but with Odin himself, and she's also able to reconnect with her brother Freyr. Yeah. Atreus is at home. Yeah, Kratos told Sindri to take him home.
Is it done?
It's over.
Bro, yeah. He just chilling.
It's really over.
And now that you have what you seek,
You know, Miguel, would you rather have chat on the right or left? Which one would you rather prefer it to
I
be?
suppose.
'Cause I'm looking at it on my screen. It does look very distracting. Would you rather it on the left or right?
Where I kill you.
have you decided?
Okay, yeah. So I'll just shrink down the size then later after stream.
To be honest, I don't think I can do either. There's still a part of me that is so angry. And it'll always be.
Calm down.
It'll always be angry.
Okay, I'll do that for now.
But no. You are not the one who needs to die. I do see that. Look. Everything that's happened between us.
No need to explain. Not to me.
Okay.
Not for that.
Oh, God.
I do not regret saving your life. And never will. But the choice between
Stop,
mine
Miguel,
and
please.
yours to
Please
make.
stop.
I should not have robbed you of that choice.
No. It really is you. You returned to us at last.
Yes.
Let's celebrate. You reclaim the throne. We'll rebuild. Me and you against the world. Huh? Just like the old days.
I'm not staying.
I don't understand. You're here. Maybe together we can take back what's ours.
I only just got back what's mine. I still have work to do.
You've seen what's left of
Ugh.
the realm, right? Do we really mean that little to you?
You question my loyalty? Vanaheim turned its back on me.
Oh, you still can't let go of that old fight.
It was my duty to save as many of our people as possible. My responsibility. One you didn't take seriously then, and from the looks of it, one you don't now.
You think this is a game to me?
Yeah.
We lost everything to that maniac you called husband. The man's family set me on fire. How did you expect me to react?
Like my brother! Like the boy that used to have my back no matter what! And who I always supported no matter how selfish his choices. I expected you to come and find me. That no matter how hurt or angry, you wouldn't abandon me when I needed you.
He really does. Family lore does go crazy.
Please. I thought you were dead. I've had to live lifetimes with those last awful words I said to you. Have you any idea what that's like? Knowing that your own selfishness hurt the person that you cared about the most. Abandon you.
Oh God, my legs.
Oh, Freya. I mourned you. Oh, I've missed you so much.
And are you, Ingvi?
Mimir is also fleshed out more in this game, given a lot more depth, as when we visit Svartalheim, we find out he had to deal with the dwarves to work under Odin's command and had them build mining rigs, which Mimir asks us to turn off. And as you're turning them off, he tells you how he convinced the dwarves to fall in line with Odin, and once you turn them off, he asks you one more thing, to free a Lingenbacher? I think that's how you say it. I'm not going to try to correct it ever again. And while you're freeing it from its chains, he tells you that he had it trapped here in the bag because he wanted to catch Odin's eye. Well, I mean, technically his only good eye at that point, and figured it would be good for Odin as they harvested the oil that it produced for Odin's lanterns, something that Kratos is not happy with Mimir about, and he vocalizes his unhappiness to him.
Why enslave the creature?
Its fat was a good source of oil for Odin's lanterns.
Oil for lanterns.
Whatever anger you're feeling, whatever loathing toward me, it's nothing to what I've said to myself.
Him. These are just a few ways God of War Ragnarok only improves on the storytelling and a lot of payoffs that were set up in God of War 2018. Following a year after the game's launch, we got the announcement at the Game Awards 2023 we would be getting a DLC to God of War Ragnarok, which acted as an epilogue to the game and sets up Kratos to take the Norse pantheon's position of God of War, as Tyr doesn't deem himself needed. He sees himself as a myth that has faded and the people no longer believe in him, but he believes Kratos can take his spot, as the people believe in him as the hero of Ragnarok. He invites Kratos to Valhalla under the guise of someone who is seeking to challenge Kratos. And here, God of War Ragnarok turns into a roguelite where there are many chests scattered around through Valhalla where you can get fleeting echoes, where outside of Valhalla you can use them to buff Kratos' health, rage, strength, etc. Or when inside Valhalla you can get a one-time health boost or a one-time rage boost, but just use it wisely because once they are gone, you can't use them again. Once you get through the floors of Valhalla, you fight Tyr, and he tells Kratos his reason of why he brought him to Valhalla, and you fight Tyr, where in these fights he uses different weapons from the different lands he has traveled to in order to test Kratos to see if he's truly ready to take Tyr's old spot as the God of War. Here in Valhalla is where you get the legacy variant of Spartan Rage, and once you complete the DLC in its entirety, you get to use the young Kratos skin. Yes, that young Kratos skin from the Greek era of God of War games. And as I said earlier, if you start a New Game Plus playthrough, or you already have one, you can take these things into your New Game Plus playthrough by simply grabbing them at the chest by Brock and Sindri's shop whenever you go near it, whether it's in the realm between realms, any realm. As long as that chest is there, you can grab the young Kratos skin and the Legacy Spartan Rage variant. That's how high quality the Valhalla DLC is. I, along with other people, were surprised that Sony Santa Monica just decided to make it free for all players. Thank you all for the very late Christmas present. We love you guys so much. This game, along with God of War 2018 by themselves, made me fall in love with the God of War franchise, and to get a DLC in the form of Valhalla was amazing. And then supposedly by a writer on the God of War team saying supposedly the story isn't over, makes me very excited for the future of this series, whether it's another game or another DLC expansion, though I personally think it'll be another DLC. Aside from that, I always try to walk away from these games with some message as a way to help navigate my life, as this is what these games are. Mediums as a way to tell great stories, and God of War Ragnarok is exactly that. So in Kratos' words to Atreus, I will leave you all with this. We must be better.
Today, we will be better.
Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to keep up with all my videos that I put out, as I am on a review streak right now. Next, we will be covering Naruto X Boruto Storm Connections, and then Devil May Cry Peak of Combat. Also, go down below and follow me on my socials and my Twitch, and I'll see you all next video. Happy gaming.
'Cause I'm taking the world you'll see.